Today we are going to share a review of 5 best movies on mental health. The first movie is Inside Out 2015. It is a story of a little girl, Riley, who is moving from Minnesota to San Francisco because of her parents' decision. As she is struggling to adjust to a new life, her emotions start to mess up. There are 5 main emotions in Riley's mind, the headquarters, which are disgust, fear, joy, sadness, and anger. Then conflicts between the emotions happen, which results in Riley's core memories accidentally vacuum up along with joy and sadness to the wider world in Riley's mind. Basically, their adventures depict as they are trying to prevent the memories from being deleted and how the other emotions, fear, disgust, and anger, control the emotions centered at the headquarters. There are a few lessons that can be learned in this movie. Firstly, happiness does not necessarily come from joy. A recent study found that the mixture of both positive and negative emotions helps in having better mental health. A variety of emotions can prevent specific emotions, especially the harmful emotions such as anger or sadness, from dominating the emotional ecosystem. Therefore, the person can analyze the situation based on the variety of emotions and making a better choice which potentially resulting to greater happiness. Secondly, to embrace rather than suppress the tough emotions. They cannot avoid the sadness or any unpleasant emotions, but mindfully embrace the emotion. We can observe the emotion before judging it as right or wrong view towards a particular situation, and thus making a room to decide for a better response.
Okay, the movie that I'm going to review today is the title is Shatu Island. Okay, this movie is actually ruled by a very famous actor, which Leonardo DiCaprio, and he was known as Teddy in this movie. Okay, Teddy believes that he is actually an US Marshal who need to travel to this one psychiatric hospital to investigate on disappearance of one of the patients. Okay, but later on in the middle of the movie, there are so many weird things happens and make us think who's actually having the mental issue. And I think the director himself wants us to get confused whether the doctor themselves have the mental illness or the investigator or Teddy himself having a very serious mental issue, or maybe the entire hospital having that problem. Okay, because there's one part of the movie, the investigator or Teddy keep having a very serious hallucination, and another part of the story shows that the doctor having a very extremely interest to study on the psychiatric people, on people who having the psychiatric problem. Okay, and then at the end of the story, it is very confusing again because they shows like the person who Teddy going to investigate at the first place is actually himself. So he keep having the hallucination problem until the end of the story. So this movie is very recommended to those who wants to know more about hallucination, about mental issues. So I can conclude that it is a very good movie, and I recommend you all to watch it once.
Today I'll be reviewing one Netflix movie called All the Bright Places. So the movie I'm reviewing is basically based on a adult fiction book, and in this movie there is 2 characters naming Violet and Finch. They both come across each other in a very curious manner, and it turns out that they're both from the same school. And in this curious situation, it develops a friendship among these 2 characters, and so the story begins. This movie has a very intense beginning and ending, but in the whole movie, the main characters are both emotionally unstable and they both try to help each other, or at least in an overall view, Finch tries to help Violet to get out of her depression that she has. So to begin with, Violet has recently lost her sister in a car crash and she has been feeling emotionally vulnerable and depressed. And the peculiar situation that she was in, that in the beginning of the movie, was that she found herself on the edge of a ledge in a bridge, and that's where Finch tried to help her out and did not let her take any life-threatening decision at that moment. And whereas Finch is considered to be the outcast or the weirdo or the freak of the school, they're both, to be kept in mind that they're both from the same school and they know each other, but Finch is like the odd one out. In the process of Finch helping Violet out from her depression, he was taking her places and making her realize the value of life, or even he was trying to help her to get out of the fear of getting in a car. But what the movie lacked was that the background story of what was happening to Finch. Finch was also not very emotionally stable. He had those weird outbursts of energy and anger that he could not control. And that was more or less related to the background history of him, that was his father. His father had those dark moods that he used to get in, and then he used to beat Finch and his sister up during their childhood time. But in the process of showing Violet all the bright places and values of life, at the end of the movie, he killed himself in the beautiful lake that he wants Violet to visit. Mental health is a very sensitive topic that should be taken care of and should be catered for very well, and we should be aware of how the person we are surrounded by are feeling really. So please keep in mind of your loved ones and how they are feeling.
So for my part, I'm going to do a movie review on a movie named Khaleeda, where you can watch this movie on Netflix. So this is a movie about a psychiatrist who tries to help her patients who are having mental illness, who are having anxious, and also who are having traumatized. So at the moment she helped Nora, who was traumatized with her father, and also at the same time the movie also related with a patient who having sessions with Dr. Mattis, the psychiatrist. Alex, okay, first I was wondering what is the relation between Nora, the one who traumatized with her father, and Alex. So at the end of this movie you will find a plot twist in it, which also mind blown. And but to remind you, this movie actually contains violence and thriller. So if you're not ready with any blood scenes, so you better not watch this movie. It's not about medications, it's also about the attention that Dr. Mattis should give to Nora. Yeah, if you watch this movie, Nora is having very violence. I mean, she cut herself. Yeah, it's very terrifying. You know someone who are having mental illness or having traumatized, which makes her world or his world it's not in a normal thing. So you better help your you better help your friend or someone who you know who are having this, because mental illness is also an illness. It's also a disease that needs to be treated. Okay.
You were wrong. Nora, look at me. Give me the glass. So wrong. Let me.
So the last best movie on mental health is Silver Lining Playbooks. So it is an American romantic comedy film directed by David O. Russell in 2012. This film is actually based on Matthew Quick's novel, The Silver Lining Playbooks, and it has numerous accolades. This film is about a man, Pat Solitino, who was played by Bradley Cooper, that suffered with bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder is one of the mental illness previously known as manic depression, marked by extreme shifts in moods. Pat has recently been released from court-ordered stint in Baltimore Psychiatric Hospital after violently attacking the man who was having an affair with his wife. Right after 8 months under treatments and moving it back with his parent, he still has a manic episode with the symptoms of elevated moods, sleep-related problems, and emotional outbursts.
since he reluctant to eat his medication, and sometimes he also experienced mild depression. Pat is really determined to win back his estranged wife. At the same time, he meets with a young widow, Tiffany Maxwell, who was played by Jennifer Lawrence, who offers to help him to get his wife back. But Pat has to be her partner for dance competition first. Along the way, an unconscious relationship established between them both. I found this movie so fascinating because this movie helped us to understand the symptoms of bipolar disorder accurately, and it shows that Pat is not only a sufferer of bipolar disorder in this movie, but a man embedded in a web relationship, romantic and familial, that offers the possibility of recovery and growth, since bipolar disorder patients need social support along with medication. Right? So you should check it out.